Can you believe the story of Tron has morphed from a cult classic sci-fi oddity into a Disney theme park centerpiece and the arrival of a bold new sequel coming this week? Let me take you through how this digital dream grew, persisted, and is now coming back to the mainstream. Let's take a deep dive through the world of Tron. It all begins in 1982 with Tron, conceived by Steven Linsberger and produced by Walt Disney Pictures. At the time, the idea of blending live action with computer-generated imagery and backlit animation was audacious. Tron was among the first films to explore what the inside of a computer might look like, visualizing programs as sentient avatars and cyberspace as a realm of glowing circuits and deadly games. The plot centers around Kevin Flynn, who was played by Jeff Bridges, a video game developer and former employee of Encom. He hacks into the company's systems to expose intellectual theft. He is dragged into the digital world called the Grid, forced to fight in a program-based games to escape. This was truly a unique concept coming to the movie theaters during this time period. It was truly based off of the culture of going to arcades and kids loving to play video games. It was a new passion that was developing during the 1980s. However, Tron would only do modestly at the box office, and many would see it as not a hit and too odd to be part of regular pop culture. It really didn't fit during the time period, and on top of that, the graphics, if you're watching it today, look atrocious. So, because of all of this, Tron wouldn't be seen as this big hit, but Disney did see it as a potential for merchandising and marketing in other aspects down the line. They knew this video game concept could be valuable, and they were able to sell merchandise and video games around this. For example, the Tron arcade game from Midway would sell 10,000 cabinets and become a hit arcade game. That game and its sequels reinforced that the film had a presence, that it was in the world of gamer culture, and it would help cement Tron as more than just a film, but as a cult classic, a cultural icon. But it never really had that movie staying power. The movie wasn't seen as a bust by many throughout the 80s and 90s, but it really wasn't seen as a hit either. The game would live longer than the actual movie. The game meant more to fans than the actual movie did, and that's what really made it interesting, made it unique. That's what Disney started to lean into. Hence why in 2010, almost 28 years later, they would give Tron another try, with Tron Legacy arriving as a sequel set decades after the original. The film introduced Sam Flynn, Kevin's son, and Quora, a sentient program, as they returned to the Grid to face off against this new world. The visual aesthetic leaned heavily into neon, sleek lines, and unique designs. It was seen as much better than the original for the graphics aspects, but the storytelling still wasn't there. Though it would do much better than the original with $400 million worldwide, but it would also have a massive budget of $200 million. The film wasn't seen as a bust, nor was it seen as a hit. Making $400 million worldwide is very impressive, even if you have a $200 million budget. But the film really still didn't have that staying power that Disney was hoping for. But what it did have, once again, was the merchandising, marketing, and potential for theme parks. And that's what Disney loved. Because of this cult-like classic aspect that Tron had, because of his connection with the 1980s and 1990s video game culture, Tron had staying power. It was something that the Disney company could utilize in the theme parks, and they did. Originally debuting in Shanghai in 2016, the Tron Light Cycle Run coaster was one that was a big hit. So much so that the company knew that they had to bring it to the United States, which they would decide to bring to Magic Kingdom in 2023. It was something that was seen as a unique aspect to the theme park, something that hadn't really existed in Walt Disney World. Reaching almost 60 miles per hour and having G-force-like movement, the Tron Light Cycle has become one of the most popular rides at Walt Disney World and is still extremely popular in Shanghai. The ride's become so popular in the US that they even decided to do a Tron Ares overlay based off the new movie coming out, and they also went very heavy with merchandise. But this may have been the one area where Disney messed up. They went very heavy in the tech area of merchandising with unique aspects, including building your own avatar, which didn't really catch on to a lot of fans because the fact is that the movie hasn't really caught on. The original two movies really weren't that big of hits that connected with the fan base. But they're hoping with Tron Ares that can all change. They're hoping this new movie can bring in a new audience, new fan base, which will then once again restart that merchandise selling for the Walt Disney Company. Tron Ares is set to debut this week, and it's supposed to be one that's very interesting because it is casted with Jared Leto, who is not a fan favorite around the world, but Jeff Bridges is returning as Kevin Flynn. So it should be very interesting, and Nine Inch Nails is actually doing the music. So there's a lot of connection here with fan bases, with this unique aspect of leaning into the cyberpunk video game community. So we'll see how this movie goes. It should be very interesting, and I'm sure the Walt Disney Company will be merchandising and marketing around these characters for years to come. What are your thoughts? Do you think this will lead into a new trilogy of Tron movies? Do you think Tron has a bright future for the Walt Disney Company? Do you think more rides will come, especially in Tomorrowland? Let us know your thoughts below. We'd love to hear from all of you. Thank you so much for watching Believable Truths.